Hey, it's Crystal Diaz here. Billie Eilish's song What Was I Made For, co-written with her brother Phineas for the Barbie movie, just won Song of the Year at this year's Grammys. I thought it would be fun to do a breakdown and tutorial of this song from my perspective. I'm not the kind of coach who's going to tell you you have to sing it like this or you have to sound like this. Otherwise, it's just technically inaccurate. I'm more about, hey, let's get your voice to a place where you really understand it like an instrument and you can really use it to create whatever picture or whatever version of the song you want to sing, and stand back and listen back to yourself and say, hey, I'm really proud of what I just did there. As I was preparing to record this tutorial, a student of mine actually directed my attention to an interview that Billie Eilish had done with her brother Phineas with Vanity Fair, where she talks about this song as being probably one of the most challenging vocal performance pieces that she'd ever had to do. It's easy to underestimate how challenging it really is for a singer to choose to sing in this particular way. As she described in her interview, there are so many different ways she could have chosen to sing this song, but she chose this approach instead because of what it created. I think she talks about this is what the song required. Singing light is actually a lot harder than belting in many ways, because in belting you can actually, even if it's challenging, you can kind of hide because you can just cover it up with some volume. But when it comes to singing light and very textured in this way, you'll hear everything, if that makes sense. If your voice wobbles or there's a crack, you will hear it. And this is why it's really quite painstaking to craft a sound, not just crafted in this way, but to sing an entire song this way. The big reason is because you're using a lot more air, and because you're expelling so much air out and you have to be so controlled, it's easy to want to just gasp all the air back in at your next phrase, but you can't do that. You're going to fall out of balance super fast. If I was teaching a beginner student, I would actually have them sing it with more tone in the voice first before going into that breathier, airier texture. So I would actually have them practice, I used to float. And then what we do is, to create that more breathier sound, we take that similar approach, that similar feeling, and we flood the sound with a little bit more air. We go from I used to float to I used to float, now I just fall down. So you can see that with both sounds, I'm still holding on to what I call core sound. I still have a line of sound in there. There's still a little bit of tone in there. The only difference between the two is one is just, I'm just flooding one of them with a lot more air, and I'm releasing a lot more air over that sound. But if I don't do that, what happens is the sound will become far too diffused and uncontrollable. So let me try to give you an example of that. I used to float, now I just fall down. Can you hear how there's a lot of air there, but there's almost like, it's almost too much, if that makes sense. I'm just pushing all the air out and just dumping all the air out, and that makes it actually really, really hard to control. I'm spending so much time talking about this because this is really the main thing of the song. This is the texture of the song for the entire way. And it is also such a great technique to practice. So again, if you are kind of doing this for the first time and you're a beginner singer, or you are, trying to explore this part of your vocal ability, then I would recommend start solid first. I used to float, I. That's what I call core sound. So you get that tone in there first, weave it into the melody. And then when you're comfortable, you can feel how the voice is moving up and down melodically, then you can work on adding that extra layer, which is I used to float, because then you have somewhere to aim for, if that makes sense. So now that we got the approach, the tonal approach for this song, let's go ahead and learn the melody. As you can see, I have marked out all the breath points here, and it really is important to take the breath and really know where you're breathing, because the way in which you are breathing here in particular is going to impact the way in which your voice sounds, especially that first note coming out. If I breathe like this and I'm gasping for air, and my mouth is pretty closed off, I used to, it's hard for me to actually move into the position for that, to get that nice cavernous, echoey sound quality that Billie Eilish is getting here. Hi, that kind of, I call this backspace, right? She's really opening up the back of the throat here. Hi, and really letting that acoustically echo through her instrument. That's what I'm hearing anyway. And so in order to get that, you have to breathe in that way, if that makes sense. You want to breathe with a sense of openness in the backspace here. Then when you do that, you are already in a better position for the word I. I used to float. It really is this like a sculpture, right? It's like she's sculpting a sound with the voice. Okay, so there's a little bit of a trail off on the word used, right? Used to float, and then to float is together like a pair. Now I just fall down. Can you hear how that now I, there's a little bit more tone in that? Now I, it's not just now I just fall down. It's not like she's whispering through it. It's really easy to listen to the song and think, oh, she's just whispering the entire song. And then, and then just like, oh, that's nice. She's not just whispering. Okay, so she has a little bit more tone here. Now I is linked together. Now I, so it really creates that nice flowy sound. Now I just fall down. Yeah, even the word fall down, like if you think about the words F-A-L-L, fall down, and then the word down with the D, it's easy to get caught up in those consonants, right? If I'm trying to be floaty, now I just fall down, and I overpronounce that, it's really hard to create this trailing off feeling of the voice. And you can't not say the L's and the D's, right? You're going to have to pronounce the consonants, but you want to do it in a way that doesn't disturb the flow of the sound. I used to know. So you can hear again the tone coming in on the word I. Hi. So it's not just I used to know. It's not just all air, right? You can hear the tone that's coming in. That's what I call core sound. That core sound is still present in every single phrase. I used to know. So same thing, I and used are going to be together as if they were one continuous sound. But I'm not sure now. But and I'm are together. You really want to open up the word I'm here with the vowel shape. I would recommend doing that. But I'm, as if you're creating that space vocally. But I'm not sure now. Again, very, very tricky to do because once you think about doing one part of this phrase and then the next part comes, and if you're not ready for the next part, again, you will hear it in recording. You will hear that the voice wasn't ready. So after you've done the but I'm, make sure you're ready for the word not. But I'm not. You don't want to do this. But I'm not sure now. And sort of let the whole thing collapse, right? You have to keep that shaping. I call this creating the conditions for the sound to flow out optimally. What I was made for. What was I made for? Okay, so this last two line here, I think the trickiest part is between the but I'm not sure now, taking this breath to that next line, because so far the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 lines that we've done, you can tell hopefully by if you're practicing along with me, how much air you need to use, right? And how mindful you have to be for every single phrase. Now here by the 5th line was what I was made for. It's really, really easy to go to do something like this. But I'm not sure now what I would be. You should kind of like want to let go of the air and just reset yourself and start again, but you can't, because again, you'll hear it in recording. Everything, you can hear everything in a song like this. It's like it's so exposed. So if you're going, but I'm not sure now, this part here, you got to be mindful that you have to still keep that controlled breath point. And hold, I don't want to say hold yourself, but maintain your awareness for that line. What I was made for. Okay, and then you're also sustaining that part here. For. Then you can take a little bit more of a relaxed breath here because there's a bit more of a pause. But still, you can tell, you can hear how she's breathing it how she's breathing in. She's not she's not gasping for air. She's doing it in a very controlled way. Anytime you take a breath point, even if you feel like I really don't have enough air, you got to tell yourself slowly, slowly, right? Stay calm. For the last line, you just take a nice controlled, slow recovery breath. What I was made for. The hardest part of that line here is to hold that word for and trail off at the end. You can hear how the voice just sort of disappears at the end there. Taking a drive, hours and night. I would look at all the vowels here. Hey, I would practice that first. A is the vowel for the word take of taken, right? Hey, I would do that a few times just to get comfortable where, like how to shape that vowel, if that makes sense. So you're going to go, hey, take, and then you move into that space right away. Taking a drive, because here there's a lot more, there's quite a few consonants that you have to enunciate. You want to pronounce the consonants in a way that does not disrupt the flow of the sound that's coming out. And so this is what I call finding the vowels. You want to be mindful of the vowels that you are moving into as you were singing each phrase. So this is why this example here, I would go, taking a drive. So even the word drive, I'm going to hold it on an ah vowel. And I'm going to really hold that shape because there is a little bit of a sustain there. The next line here, I was an ideal. If you notice, she actually adds a tiny little H sound in the word I, which I think is really smart because then it softens out that approach. So she's not going, I was an ideal. It's not I, it's I was an ideal. But doing that is actually harder because you can't over pronounce the H as well. You can't go, I was an I. That's going too far, right? And so I think this is what she means when in the interview that I saw, she talked about it being light and held. I think she said the word held back. My interpretation is, I think that's what she means. You can't propel the sound out too far, but you also can't constrict it internally either, because it does need to have that free flow feeling. So it is in a way kind of like, I was an ideal, has that held back feeling. So the breathing pattern here is a little bit more active. So you have to be quite measured. If I know that I'm going, taking a drive, and I'm not excessively holding the word drive very long, I'm not going to breathe like this. Taking a drive. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to over breathe, right? I just breathe in way too much air than I actually need. And so this is what I mean by measuring out your breath points, right? You want to know how much air you're going to need to breathe in for what you need to sing. Same thing for this next line here. Look so alive. You don't need a whole lot of air because, again, there's not a whole lot of sustains. Breathe what you need for the phrase, for the length of the phrase that is required here. And you will only know that by practicing the song many, many times. But mainly put your awareness on the vowels, because if you can keep your acoustic shaping there in an optimal way, then you're going to be able to craft this nice open sound. Looks so alive, turns out. So even turns out, you're not going to go, turns out I'm not real. You can hear instantly if I do that, if I collapse the acoustics internally, you can hear how that completely changes the tonal quality and the tonal coloring of the voice. Turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for. Yeah, so I would go, just something new. So take out the NG here, just something new, just something you paid for. So you open up on the word paid, get that vowel space back in, paid for, which is going to help you for the word for, because again, you got to hold that vowel shape for to get that nice trail off at the end there. What was I made for? For this part, you can hear how she's doing was I. She's linking them together. What was I made for? And really creating some space there for that word I, for the vowel and the articulation to come out clearly, but also to keep that nice sense of openness. Same thing with the word for. You want to hold on an all vowel and just shape it enough to make it sound like the word for, but not too much that it disturbs that nice open ended sound and that trailing off feeling at the end here. All right, so we've done the verses. Whoo! Okay, that's enough to practice with, actually. You know, you'll learn so much about your voice just by practicing those verses alone. All right, let's jump into the chorus. 'Cause I don't know how to feel. Okay, so I would practice this in two sections here. I would do the 'cause I first. So let's look at that. 'Cause I. So look at that ah vowel. Hi. You can just practice it like that first. Hi. Hi. So that second I has a little dip down. Hi. And it really is a nice bend down. The highest note is an E5, an E5 here. So that's verging on, that's actually in the typical second bridge or the typical female range. And so that's this whole other space. Is really, it's upper register. And if you're not comfortable with going up there, I would say release the voice up there first. How do you do that? Just go straight up there. Let's go to the word ha. Let's go hi. Let's say hi. Let's actually say the word hi. We're going to go hi, hi, and try to glide or bend the voice up there. Hi, and get comfortable first, being able to find that one note. Oftentimes when we are thinking that a note is high, or we're thinking it's difficult, then the body is going to act like it's difficult. So if I'm thinking, and I sort of shrink back because I'm thinking to myself it's high, well, I'm going to act like it's high. So often I'll tell students, let's just move up there first. Let's just face the fear right away. Face the fear first, right? So let's just face it first. Hi, hi. And I like the word hi because then that encourages more of that open space, right? Hi. And once you get there, you feel like, oh, I'm getting comfortable up here. Then we can shape the word how, because the word is how, right? Hi, how. Then now you can see I'm just shifting it slightly to move into the word how. How, but I'm still retaining that openness. How to feel. Then come down on the word to feel. Then when you're comfortable with that, you can string in the beginning part of this phrase, but still, again, you still want to retain that sense of openness. I don't know how to feel. Practice that a gazillion times, okay? I think that's what Billie Eilish said too. She's like, I've sung this song a gazillion times. That's what it takes. If you really want to get good at your craft and you really want to, and you're passionate about it, you've got to be working a line a gazillion times. You work a song a gazillion times. But I wanna try. So she just touched on that letter B of the word but to start that phrase. But I wanna try. And she's still so controlled in that sound. It's so easy to, especially having sung this higher note, how to feel, to just dump all the effort out because, you know, you've just done something hard. But you're not done yet. Not time to relax yet, okay? I don't know how to feel. I don't know. Take a breath. How to feel. So the notes are a little bit different. How to. You can say that. How to feel. Da. There's 3 notes in the word feel. Feel. Right, so that's different from the line before where she goes, how to feel. That one comes down. But someday I might. But someday I might. So day is a bit more extended, and then it moves into the word I. Day I might. Almost like she's saying yeah, right? The word but here is almost imperceptible. It's enough that you can hear the word is present. I don't know if that was intentional. I'm sure it was intentional, but that's actually quite hard to do because it's easy just to want to go, but someday I might. That's so much easier to sing, right? Someday I might. That's actually way easier to sing, but she's choosing not to do that. Okay, so but someday I might. Then take a breath here. Someday I might. And so it kind of steps down. There's two notes for the word might. Someday I might. And you want to hold that might and trail it off at the end there. Now we've done the 2 verses and the chorus. Let's go ahead and sing with her, and we'll learn the rest of the song in the second half of this tutorial. Hey there, I hope you are having fun learning to sing this song with me and that you are picking up some great tips. I've actually created a whole set of exercises that are specifically geared towards helping you to practice the techniques and the skills that I am teaching you inside of this tutorial. I create these exercises specifically for the members inside of my Singers Connect program. So if you want access to this set of exercise and all the ones that I've done in the past for different songs and for different skills and techniques, then you will love being part of my membership. You can head on over to theonlinevocalacademy.com to check it out and get started with a membership for as low as 50 cents a day. You're going to have fun. You're going to meet some great new singing friends from around the world. And most of all, you're going to be able to learn about your voice and understand your voice and develop it in a whole new way. To check out all the details, head on over to theonlinevocalacademy.com or click the link where you are watching this video. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, let's go ahead and continue with the rest of this tutorial.
I used to float, now I just fall down. I used to know, but I'm not sure now what I was made for. What was I made for? Taking a drive, I was an ideal, looked so alive. Turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for. What was I made for? 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try. I don't know how to feel, but someday I might. Someday I
Let's begin the second half of this tutorial. So let's go ahead and break down that ad-lib section here. So the way that Billie Eilish has done it, I would envision it into 3 sections. Section 1 has 4 notes in it. It is ha, ha. So it comes down and then 1 goes up, right? Ha, ha. That's section 1. Section 2 has 5 notes to it. It's ha, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it sounds like she's humming a little bit. So it's almost like she's going, but humming is actually quite tricky. And so if you were a beginner, I actually wouldn't recommend you try to hum it. I would actually do more like a huh sound. I think that's generally going to be easier to control. Now section 3 has 4 notes to it, and that actually trails off from section 2. So section 2, we had the 5 notes. So the section 3 is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 little notes, but they're more like micro bends. So let's put this all together. Section 1 is the 4 notes. Right? Section 2 is the 5 notes. And then section 3 is the trail off. Okay.
When did it end? All the enjoyment.
So here you can hear how she uses the consonant, the W consonant, to instigate some of that airflow. Like, when almost like she's going when. And you can try that too, because it's a nice way to instigate that flow of sound. When did it end? All the enjoyment. So the word all can also have a little bit of that H consonant to help instigate that sound. So you can actually go haul. The one more thing that I would recommend though is that if you are doing that when and haul and you're releasing the air on those two words, you want to sort of taper it off at the end. So here's what I mean. This is not what we want to do. When did it end? All the enjoyment. Can you hear how I'm just continuously blowing the air through to the end of that phrase? When did it end? Can you hear how I'm deliberately just tapering off some of that airiness at the ends of the phrase? And that really helps with the articulation of the phrase as well. All the enjoyment. So I'm just tapering off at the end there. So creating a little bit more sound, so tapering off the airflow at the ends of the phrases. This is really such a great practice technique to work on, because you have to do quite a bit of coordinating within a very short phrase. So it's a really great practice point.
I'm sad again. Don't tell my boyfriend it's not what he's made for.
I think for these next few lines, you can kind of approach it the same way. I'm sad again. So you can hear I'm going, I'm again using that first consonant, adding a little bit more airflow to the first consonant of each phrase to soften it out, but then tapering off at the tail end of the phrases. Don't tell my boyfriend. So boyfriend here, we're going to, same thing, taper off the airiness to it so that we still get some articulation there. We don't want to go, don't tell my boyfriend, and just dump all the air out. So for the last two lines here, I would go back to that held feeling that we talked about earlier in this tutorial, where it's not like we're blowing all the air out, but we're also not clenching it all in. It's almost just finding this perfect balance, which is really challenging when the sound is when the dynamics are so low in this way. It's not what he's made for. And then the last line here, what was I made for? Right? So these two lines here are very different in approach to the previous lines, because in the previous line it's, when did it end? It's a little bit more flowy in that way. All the enjoyment, I'm sad again, where we're doing that. Don't tell my boyfriend. And then we taper it off here. It's not what he's made for. And we slow breath here to recover. We don't want to gasp the air in. So nice controlled, so slow breath here. What was I made for? Lots to work on already in that little verse alone. So if you want to pause the video and go ahead and work on that, please do. But otherwise, let's continue on to the next chorus.
What was I made for? 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I wanna try.
All right, so some variations here. Let's break it down. 'Cause I, so same thing, we're gonna link the two words together, 'cause I, and then 'cause I, that one, the second 'cause jumps up, and then we have a little vocal run here. For this ad lib, I would break it down into two sections and really practice those two sections individually before putting them together. And I would also practice it with more of a full sound, like more of a full solid tone, just so that you can practice getting the notes and hearing the notes before trying to execute it with more of that textured sound quality. So for section one, we're going to add the 'cause I to the ad lib. 'Cause I. So essentially there's 6 notes there, including the word 'cause and I. 'Cause I. So those are the notes. Section 2 has 4 notes. I. And they do kind of run together, but I would practice them individually before putting them together. So altogether it would be 'cause I Okay, practice that over and over again until you really build that into your system, and then you can think less about the notes and think more about the feeling or the intention behind that little ad lib there.
I don't know how to feel.
This line here, there's a little bit of a different phrasing pattern, which makes sense because you've just done that ad lib. So after you've done that first ad lib, you're going to have a little bit of time to recover a bit of breath to sing I don't know, and then you have another recovery point. I don't know, where you can take another breath. So that means in the first line, after you've done that first ad lib, don't feel like you need to take a copious amount of air, because you do have another little break point here. 'Cause I don't know. Breathe again. How to feel. And then we can take another breath here. But I wanna try. There is another little ad lib trailing off from the word try. But I wanna try. Da, 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 da. So essentially it's 4 little notes happening after the word try. Try at the tail end there. The next line here, we do have another break point here. I don't know how to feel. And the word feel, again, it stays a little higher, but there's 3 notes to it. Feel. And I can hear her doing feel. And then there's a heel there, but it's done very quickly, so you almost don't hear it. But it is kind of nice because it breaks up the sound a little bit and gives the ear something more to listen to. The last 2 lines here, there's a little variation. But someday, we can take a breath here. I might, goes up. I might, take another breath. Someday I might. And that's the same as the previous chorus. All right, we've done the second chorus. Let's go ahead and learn the last section.
Think I forgot how to be happy. Something I'm not, but something I can be. Something I wait for.
This last verse is almost like an outro, it feels like to me. Even though the melody is the same as the previous verses, I feel like the energy behind it is really different, which makes sense lyrically. If you think about how we were practicing the previous verse with the when did it end? All the enjoyment, with that kind of style of singing or approach rather, it really does feel like we're still going somewhere, right? Because it's like we're flowing with the sound. But this final verse here, the feeling I'm getting is that we're slowing down, and we're coming to the ending, right? And I think lyrically it makes sense. It's think I forgot how to be happy, right? And we're talking about, what is that happy ending for you? And so there is a little bit of a finality to it, if that's even a word, right? So if you think about that, then vocally, we can change our approach to further that or to enhance that kind of message. So instead of going, think I forgot how to be happy, can you hear how that approach makes it sound like I'm not at the end of my story yet, or I'm not at the end of my conclusion of these thoughts that I'm having or realizations that I'm having? But if I approach it differently and I go, think I forgot how to be happy, it's almost more understated. Again, it's going back a little bit more to that held back feeling rather than that sweeping flowing sound that we were doing in the previous verse. You can hear that even though we are still singing light, there's still so much that you can do vocally in this lighter setting of sound that can really tell a story. And the next line is, something I'm not. I remember her singing this part here. She does go to the sum of something quite quickly. Something I'm not. So you can do that as well. And I think that's a nice choice because it highlights the word something. She's going from this realization of she's a thing, right? This Barbie is a thing, something that you can pay for. And so just to even just change the way that you're singing the word something, highlights that meaning. Like, I don't want to be a thing, I want to be something. So anytime I look at a song lyrics and I see that there is one word that's repeated over and over again, I like to think that the lyricist did that on purpose, not because the lyricist couldn't think of another word, right? It's there's something there, something that is intentional about that repeated word. And so if we can pay attention to that, and as a vocalist, we want to use our technique to enhance that message or to find the meaning behind that, I think that creates a very powerful performance piece. So give that a try here. Something I'm not. So really highlight that something by going to that M of something. But something I can be. Now let's look at the last few lines here.
Something I wait for. Something I'm made for. Something I'm made for.
So what's interesting here is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 somethings in this last verse here. But for the first two, my attention is really drawn to the two somethings. Something I'm not, but something I can be. But the last few lines, my attention is not drawn to the something anymore. My attention for this one here, for the third line here, the third something is something I wait for. It's actually the word wait because of the way she's drawn that sound out. Wait for. So then my attention is lingering on the word wait. So that becomes a highlight point for that phrase. But for the fourth something, my attention is actually drawn to the word I'm because of the way that she has articulated that. So she's going, something I'm made for. So she goes, I'm. And for me, that draws my attention to the word I'm. Now the last line, my attention here is drawn to the word made. I hear the M of that. Something I'm made for. Now I could just be talking crazy, right? And maybe I'm just making it up. But again, this is art, right? Singing is art and it is an interpretation. So here, the way that she is singing it has caused me to think differently as I'm listening to her ending here. And I feel like there's different meanings or different parts of the story that is being highlighted. And that's why we learn technique, right? It's not just for the sake of being able to sound a certain way, but it's to learn our technique and understand the voice so that we can make these creative choices. All right, we have come to the end of the tutorial, and now that we are here, let's go ahead and sing it together with Billie Eilish from the ad-libs that we did in the instrumental part all the way to the ending. Here we go. done. We did it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you did, give me a little thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel as well and checking out some of the other tutorials and tips that I have. If you enjoy these videos and you resonate with the way that I teach, then you will love being part of my singing membership. I do have a free version of my community, which you can join by going to mysinginglife.com. Click the link in the description box where you are watching this video. And if you want to take a step further and join me inside my paid program, you can go ahead and do that as well. But come on in and sing with us, be part of our community. All right, take care. Until next time.